Hey, everybody. We're just waiting on a press conference to begin. This will be from Gatesville. Um, we'll be hearing from John Lucio, his wife, and any other family members that are there. Um, uh, since they've heard the news that Melissa has received a stay of execution, which is great news. It's only this is the beginning of the fight, but nonetheless, it is good news. Um, it's still an uphill battle, but the minds can rest right now that she's still on death row, but right now there's no execution date that's just been taken off the table, and it's indefinite right now. It's in the hands of the district attorney, Louis Science, in Cameron County, Texas, which is down here in South Texas, and so it's up to him now to review evidence, and he will make the decision whether or not um, she should get a retrial. And unfortunately, if he does decide to try her again, he can go for the death penalty again, which is something he did mention to a publication earlier today. It was earlier today or yesterday, but it was published today. And so, unfortunately, a death penalty is still on the table. Uh, Although, given what evidence will be brought forward that wasn't last time, we'd like to think it's not likely she'd get convicted of that again. So, at this point, it's just there is no time frame right now. There's no limit. There we can see members of the Lucio, John and the wife Michelle and Bobby's right there, and other members of the I'll call it a team. And there's Sabrina Van Tassel right there. She just walked by. And these are a lot of the patriots that were out there in person and making the phone calls and standing there and getting in people's faces and holding the signs and holding the banners. And, I got messages saying, "Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Manny." Mine was just strictly minuscule, from what I was able to do on my end. So I'm not even about to take any of the credit for this at all. I'm not going to pull up. Oh, I'm not going to say that. Oh. And I'm not taking credit for any of this. I'm glad I could help in any way possible. And if my effort even was 0.1%, I'm hope that helped. So anyway, everybody's gathering right now just to hear from the family. It looks like we'll be coming up on that in just a minute here. I hope they have a better feed than this one. I imagine they will.
Okay, sorry about that.
Hey, what's up? Hey, you're super loud, buddy. Just so you know.
How about now? Is that better or no?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, I had to turn my audio down. But yeah, I am very.
Alrighty.
Hang on.
We need you in the picture here.
Yeah, can you grab that?
I'm good.
I got you.
Oops. There we go.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Am I live streaming here? Is that what I'm doing?
You're in the back, hold your signs up high. Everybody take one step back. Well, good evening, everybody. It is a very good evening. My name is Abe Bonowitz, and I'm the Executive Director of Death Penalty Action, the national organization that lifts up opposition to the death penalty and executions. And for the first time ever, has gotten involved in a case at this level. When John Lucio looked around and saw Rodney Reed, who, by the way, got a little bit of good news from the Supreme Court today, saw Rodney Reed, they had a campaign. He saw Julius Jones, and they had a campaign. And he saw his mom, and she didn't have a campaign. And said, I asked if we could help. And he said, yes, please. And every step of the way, we have asked John, we have asked Melissa, how do you wish us to proceed? And they have said, full speed ahead. Our job, all of these people and so many more across this state, across this country, and in other countries have been lifting up this case through the film, The State of Texas versus Melissa. This has been our chant. What do we want? Watch the film. Watch the film. What do we want it? Now. Watch the film. What do we want it? Now. That has been our chant. Except in Cameron County, where we've been saying to the district attorney, what do we want? Free Melissa Lucio. We want him to be the hero. We were asking DA Assange to be the hero. And he hasn't stepped up yet, but it's not too late. There is not a single reason that anybody could give me that would be acceptable as to why Melissa Lucio is not standing with us right now. She is innocent. We know she's innocent. The court is going to show that she's innocent. We are really grateful and appreciative of all of the work of Yvonne Chardo and all of the lawyers involved, the Innocence Project, everybody.
Yeah, so basically, if he's going to try it again, and he's going to try it as a death penalty case, and they introduce whatever was not introduced the first time around, he's going to lose. Louis Science, I mean, the district attorney, he's going to lose. So he might want to think about retrying the case, really.
Waiting for Melissa to come home. So we have a number of people here.
I truly don't believe he will retry it.
Have to say, and Bobby, Michelle, but we hope you'll also hear what some of the other folks that are here have to say. We've got organizers that are working with us off of Cameron County. We've got LULAC is here, so many others. So please give us your attention to John Lucio.
I'm sorry. I was a million miles an hour. First of all, I want to just thank everybody. Everybody, you know, white, fans and supporters. Your Uncle Reno? Everybody, Mark, you're back there. I'm being crazy. I can't see you. Mark, you know, and I'm gonna be real. I mean, these races, and you know, they, the film directors, actors, so they're going to, you know, I mean, I find it really, really amazing now when we see all the people behind it in our life. My mother's a big believer in God. prayers that the sister that feels like prayers that not. I just want to tell everybody thank you. Any of the people watching now, y'all know who y'all are. Thank you for of course they're gonna have done prayers, most definitely prayers for the that I would just like to give thanks to everybody in the rally and the made a text me. I think America, just across the globe, other countries, just I mean I can't even think all the support towards my mother's case. Um, Beating out to Governor Greg Abbott, the state of Texas. I mean, everybody, we have the whole world being my mother. Big thank you to everybody. Because we said I love my mother sends her prayers to everybody. She sends her love to everybody. I wishes she could write everybody. She said she's gonna be up all night today writing to a lot of people. So she's not gonna do no sleeping. So you're gonna be like us, and because we haven't done no sleeping. But she said she's gonna talk with a lot of people, and she just wants to thank everybody herself, man. Thank everybody for everything, for all the support, for all the love. Thanks for everything. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for everything. I mean, there's so much to say. I mean, I'm just trying to get it ordered. I want to thank the legal team above all because everything on the stage has done an incredible job. I mean, last time I seen Steve when I seen him wrecked, he told me over the phone a few times that he's rested and that I seen it. I seen the face of the committee meeting and all the text. It's just, he looks tired, and I believe everybody here, this team is tired. Everybody's been putting up these fights, and we're very thankful for it. Yvonne, we love you guys. Elizabeth, we love you. Tim, we love you. Grant, we love you guys. Thank you, Brother Richard Ellis, Anita Turning out of California. We love you guys. God made this happen. We're just one big old team, putting up a fight for my mother, Melissa Lucio. Today, we got the great news. We're actually in the middle of an interview, and we got the great news. I had a phone call. And he asked me if I had received the great news. He asked me if I received the news, and I didn't know what the news was. And I said, no, sir, I haven't. Your mother got a stay of execution. Yeah. All right. She got a stay of execution, and she won't be headed to hospital Wednesday, which was, I mean, at that time, it was hard, like, April 27th is still there. And so when I see April 27th passing, it's April 28th, that's when it's really going to be, I mean, it's exciting, it's overwhelming, it's the same way she's been on execution with the death row, with the execution date, and it was hard for us to believe. People have asked if we had prepared for this, we haven't, I mean, the same thing with the day of execution, April 27th. I mean, we just live day for day, and we're just, we're going to believe in God, and we're going to continue believing in Him, keep our faith up with Him, and keep on fighting this fight until we bring her home. She's no longer going to be executed. My mother will be free soon. I just want to say thank you and God bless everybody. Yeah. Sure, not a problem. So when we arrived, we were so anxious. We were actually glad I didn't get a speeding ticket because we were speeding down there. As fast as my heart was pacing, that's how fast I was driving. And when we arrived there, we seen the legal team come out of the station. He had the news as well because my mother actually told us to Jeff Seat, which is the Republican. He's the chairman of the state representative. He's the one that actually called my mother, and the warden went down there and shared the news with her. So Jeff Leach got to tell.
All right, I'm going to jump in here a little bit since the audio is it's sketchy. So she will remain on death row. If they decide yes, she will be given a retrial. Then it's like starting all over again. So a bond can be issued, which means she could post bond and be free, or he can just outright release her, but she will obviously have to be there at the trial. So only then, if they decide that there's a retrial, even then, it doesn't mean for sure she can be released. But it does open up that option for her to be released during her retrial, if there is one.
And like I was saying earlier, Manny, I do not believe there will be a retrial. I've seen a few of these
Hold
cases.
on. Is that his mother?
Yes, Mom.
We love you, Melissa.
Oh, so that was Melissa. They were trying to relay a message, but anyway, yeah, I hope there isn't. I hope he sees everything and he says, you know what, let's just drop it. And that would be the ideal thing.
Oh, so yeah, the legal team actually walked out, and when they walked out, they came to celebrate with us. They had asked us.
Has that been your day? I guess you've been in prison with her, so you haven't been able to take any phone calls. Everyone's
Yes, my
calling.
phone has over, I don't know how many calls and
Yeah, I can't hear any of that. We're good. I hope it does not get retried. I hope he looks at everything and then he says, you know what? Because I think it'll look bad on him and the DA if he tries it and then he loses. I think he'll come off more of a hero if he just plays the hero. You know what I mean? And just say, nah, you know what? We're deciding not to go forward with this case, and she's released.
Okay, I'm going to answer this real quick, Manny, because somebody's asking, why won't there be a retrial? When somebody's been sitting on death row for a number of years, 17 years to be 17, almost 18 years to be exact, the actual evidence has degraded to the point where unless there's new evidence that's damning to the person, they won't retry it because all this old evidence that is exculpatory gets brought out. And when the exculpatory evidence gets brought out, then it's a damage to the credibility of the office of the DA. So chances are they're going to look at this, they're going to go back to the trial court, they're going to look at this evidence and say, you know what, this is exculpatory evidence that should have been presented at trial. And then we're going to dismiss the charges that were brought, and we're going to recommend that the whole case gets thrown.
Right. So when he said it's not, he doesn't think it'll be retried. It doesn't mean they're going to leave her in there. Just most likely, we're hoping he says, you know what, we're not going to go forward with this
because she goes to a retrial. She's then the DA and the state of Texas, if she's found innocent at a retrial, they have wrongfully imprisoned somebody for 17 years.
And now that leaves them open to have to lose some money and pay her some money if she decides to take them into court for what he said, wrongful incarceration or whatever the proper term is.
Yeah, and that's, guys, I've been in and out of the courtrooms through various different jobs that I've done as an expert witness for the prosecution. I was a nurse practitioner. I dealt with rape and sexual assault cases.
And yes, Trish, hang on, Shane. Yeah, she will remain on. She's still on death row. The only thing that did was lifted the date, so there is no date right now. But she's still on death row. She's going to remain there in that unit until, right now the ball is in the DA's court. So whenever he decides to make his move, whether it's to really review everything, set a date for I don't know if there's going to be a pre-trial hearing to see if there's even going to be a trial. That's a possibility as well.
So what they're going to do, Manny, is they're going to have an evidentiary hearing to see if this evidence is enough to be brought in
right
to the record. If it is evidence that was not on the record before and is brought into the record, then a whole new trial has to happen unless they dismiss it. So Leo Sam, absolutely, they worry more about freaking money than they do an innocent woman. Again, justice in this country is slow. It is not something that we get right the first time. So
Louis Science already said he isn't interested, did he not? Well, no, he didn't say that exactly. You know, you're talking about a very. I just got a message. Somebody disagreeing with that he's not going to retry. You know, and you know, we're talking about Louis Science here, and like a lot of people down here in the RGV, there's a lot of pride involved, and I don't know. One school of thought is he's not going to give this up. He's going to try to get her and put her back on death row. And realistically, you think, like I said earlier, you think he would not want a chance taking a loss and putting egg on his face. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and doesn't he have an election coming up?
yeah, but he already won. He ran uncontested.
For a primary?
Yeah. So
Texas has a write-in ballot, do they not?
oh, probably, but yeah, it doesn't happen a lot down here. I mean, basically, he's a shoo-in already.
Yeah, no, and I get that. But a lot of prosecutors try to say, you know what, and being somebody who has worked with prosecutors to convict people, when you guys were covering this case before you joined with us on the Patriot News Network, I really I was looking at all this stuff that was going on, and it's like, you know what, I need to dive into this case. So I ordered transcripts and I
Yeah.
started reading the transcripts and the testimony and different things like that. And it's for me, the more I read, the more I was just like, you know what, she shouldn't be on death row. Really, she shouldn't.
Keep talking. Be right back.
Okay, so as I was looking through the transcripts, seeing all the evidence that they had against her and the exculpatory evidence that was not brought into the case and into the courtroom, it really showed me that a not only did her lawyer not do her justice, but she didn't have effective counsel. And so the one thing about the courts here in the United States is we are guaranteed the right to counsel. But it does not say that it has to be effective counsel, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But it looks like they're getting us better audio, so hopefully Manny's working his magic behind the mic. But so yeah, she will have to stay on. She will be on death row until the completion of the evidentiary hearing, and then they will move her off depending on what the findings are. So we're definitely looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. I've been in contact with people down there. Due process was violated, absolutely. And yes, it is one day at a time. There's not going to be any sense of closure until this whole thing is over.
A lot of what we're still doing now.
And yes, her defense lawyer dropped the ball purposefully, and we see this a lot in these kind of cases, especially with people who are trying to advance their careers.
All right, let's see if they got anything. If we can get any good audio here.
¿Cómo se dice? Relajado, sí. I mean, faltando 2 días del día de ejecución de ella, estaba nomás, era como, no lo podemos explicar, pero era un sentimiento bien feo que sentíamos nosotros. Pero cuando recibimos la noticia, uno de ustedes estaban ahí con nosotros, miraron las reacciones de nosotros y era algo que estábamos esperando, que estábamos orando por, pero saber que esto pasó, que pararon todo esto, era nomás algo increíble, ¿verdad? Y, esto es lo que estábamos esperando, esto es lo que todos queríamos. Y
Manny, do you want to translate that?
como dijo mi esposo temprano, llegamos ahí y, I mean,
I want to say 95% of the people in
hablamos
this room can
con los
understand.
abogados de ella,
She's just talking
nos
about
abrazamos, lloramos,
when they got the news
estábamos
of the
corriendo para
stay.
adentro porque dijeron que ella sabía la noticia.
They were in the middle of
Nomás
an
entrando
interview.
al cuarto donde estaba ella, pusimos las manos en el vidrio y empezamos a llorar todos. Era nomás algo muy bonito porque sabemos que no tenemos que tener miedo del día 27, ¿verdad? Porque
Said
no
it
el
was a
Estado
beautiful
no
moment
nos va a
hearing that
dejar
news.
seguir viviendo y
You know,
vamos a
now they
seguir
can
peleando por ella,
live
¿verdad?
life a
Y
little more calmly, not have to worry about,
estamos bien contentos. No
you know,
podemos
April
ni explicar
27th.
lo que sentimos nosotros, mi esposo, mi hermano y nosotros, todos aquí somos, siempre hemos apoyado a Melissa y estamos bien contentos que, I mean, this fight is not over and we're going to be here and fight till the end, till we get Melissa home, and I want to say, my husband, who has done the incredible job that he's been doing.
Michael, she did
He doesn't
not.
really get to be thanked enough. And
There is
his mom is
no
really, really grateful.
smoking gun
She
evidence
every
that she
single
did it.
visit,
It was most
and she's
likely,
grateful to him.
and it
Because he's fought so hard.
99.9% looks like it was
He
an
quit
accident.
school. He quit a
And
lot
by
of
an
things
accident, we mean
to fight for
an
his mom.
honest
And of course, we're thankful
accident,
to
a
Death
fall.
Penalty
She
Action
bumped her head
for
on
coming
the
in.
ground,
And
or
Sabrina Van Tassel's the one that started
coming
all
down
this,
steps or
with the
something.
documentary.
Something
She came
happened. It
to me
was
back in
an
17 days
accident.
to
There
talk to
was
me about
nothing
this documentary.
intentional. It was
We
not
didn't know
murder
that
whatsoever.
this was going to happen, that it was going to be a nationwide, you know, documentary. And she did this. She started this, Sabrina Van Tassel started this. And then Death Penalty Action got involved and they helped my husband start. My husband didn't know what to do. He wanted to do something for his mom. He just didn't want to sit around and wait for for any execution date to come, and he was like, what do I do? We didn't know where to start, what to do, you know. Abe reached out to him and he was like, you know what, let's start this. And he hasn't stopped ever since then. My husband has worked, stayed up late nights, and I've seen him. He's strong, he is, and he tries to hide his feelings from me, but I've seen him cry, and of course that's his mother. He's scared. He has a lot of pain and he's been very strong. He's tried staying strong for his mother, for of course our family, also our children, myself, our grandchildren, but he's really hasn't been taking care of himself because all his focus has been on his mother. And, we're very grateful to him. He doesn't know. I'm very thankful to you, babe, because you did this. You did. You didn't just sit around. Yes. And my mother in law earlier told him, you know what? You should be glad of the wife you have because anybody else would have probably walked away already, and I stuck by this, and from beginning to end, and I'm still gonna be here, and I'm gonna continue being with him, yes, and we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight together along with all these beautiful people behind us, and we have so many supporters from all over the world. Melissa Lucio will come home.
Right.
Yes, she will.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sabrina Van Tassel.
Yes.
So from the questions of other women who are in the death row, are there similar cases? Do you have any recommendations for them to perhaps copy the job that you did with you and your team did with Melissa Lucio?
For other women on death row? Well, I can tell you what similarities that you will find with other women on death row. Most of them were offered a deal of 30 years and declined it, and thought that they could actually have a fair trial and go and go to trial. and they all ended up, having death row. So that's the similarity. I mean, every case is different, but I can tell you one thing, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. Death row targets the poor, targets minorities, targets mentally disabled. You're not going to find a white wealthy person, on death row. That's not going to happen. And it doesn't matter if it's, a man or a woman. Okay. So, with such an inhumane and, unjust system, how can we go on and still have the death penalty? In this country, you have innocent people who are, walk out of prisons after, serving 20, 30 years every month. How can you still have the death penalty? Melissa Lucio, 15 years, a destroyed family, did not see her children. She couldn't see her children because, she couldn't see her children because most of them were minors. And, because of her crime, she couldn't get visits from her children. So, basically the day she was arrested was basically the last time she saw them. For what? For such a weak case, for a botched trial. Enough of this. And, I'm very happy I did this film. I'm very happy that, I encountered, the life of Melissa Lucio. And I'm hoping that through this film, it's going to help others. I really, from the bottom of my heart, because there's a problem with our justice system. Our justice system is not only broken, it was designed to put people like Melissa Lucio.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So yes, I would encourage, I think this is just, the death penalty needs to stop once and for all. And, Melissa Lucio has become an image, throughout the world, not only in the US, not only in Texas, throughout the world, I'll tell you, in every European country of, what wrongful convictions are, and people are looking at our justice system here thinking there's a problem and we need to fix it.
Okay, I think he is gonna refresh real quick and he's gonna pop right back in with the feed. So bear with us for a few seconds while we get that feed back up and ready to go.
Well, yeah, because nobody asked me the questions yet. Okay.
This is
Oh my God.
the director of the state of Texas versus Melissa.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. And can we talk about AIDS? Yeah. Okay. So, I came to know of Melissa Lucio's story, because I was working on a previous documentary, and at the beginning I wasn't really looking forward, meeting her, and didn't really know, what to expect. Her story didn't seem like, it had attracted much attention from the media at all. And, I was like, okay, I thought this was just, on paper that she was guilty like everybody, she is just the ideal, culprit. She is Latina. She has way too many children. She had a drug addiction, and, she basically abused her, her daughter to death. I thought on paper, it was very clear, right? And then, but then I found out all the things that, people don't read, people don't see. Yes, you can be a flawed character. Yes, you can be like Melissa and, check all the boxes for the ideal culprit and not be guilty, right? And, what I found out with her is that, her case was not only weak, it was non-existent. And I just, wondered how, someone with such a weak case could be on death row. I think it's the case of Melissa Lucio is speaks volumes about the injustices in our country. And so that's the reason why I decided to make a film about her. I wanted her name to be known, and if she was executed, I didn't want her to be um, you know an anonymous name that someone nobody knows about. I mean, now forever people will know who Melissa Lucio is. I'm very happy about this. I'm very happy that my film brought light on this case, that it brought awareness. And this is a dream for a journalist. It's a dream for a filmmaker. When you can actually, just do your part, come across a case that looks really, you know, shady and basically uncover it and for the world to see and make a difference. So I'm so happy right now.
Sabrina, you faced all kinds of opposition, people not working with you. Can you talk a little bit about the corruption and the fear in Cameron County?
Ooh, okay. Yeah. How much time do we have exactly? Well, Cameron County is an interesting, county. When I first got down there, my first thing was to go into local TV news and try to get footage. And surprisingly, the moment I would say that I was looking for footage about Melissa Lucio or about Armando Villalobos, the district attorney, it wasn't for sale anymore. And right there and then, I understood that there was a problem. Then, of course, I found out that, Armando Villalobos, was serving 13 years in, prison for bribery, extortion, and dealing with cartels. And that, when he was actually arrested, he was arrested with 2 judges and another lawyer who jumped off the South Padre Bridge and committed suicide. So to say that, Cameron County is corrupt, I would say is an understatement. It was really hard to get anybody to talk to me. I really think that, if Melissa Lucio got an execution date so soon after the U.S., the Supreme Court declined to hear her case is no accident. I think that what I basically showed in the film, was a stain, and they really wanted to, like kind of sweep it under the rug and just forget about, the story of Melissa Lucio. And I'm very happy that we were all together. There's like millions voices, million little angels, who basically helped to not make this happen. You good?
I'm told that Charles Keith, I want to invite you up. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Charles, we've been told that Louis Sines made a statement today that he looks forward to prosecuting Melissa Lucio. Something to that effect. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, he did. He said that.
What do you think?
He said he looks forward to prosecuting her.
Louis Sines?
Louis Sines.
So, with that, this is Charles Keith. He's the Impacted Communities Liaison to Death Penalty Action. He also has a real understanding of these things because his own brother was 13 days from execution at one point. He's been looking into this. Charles?
I'd like to have Bobby and John step up here first before I chew up Mr. Sines.
Yeah.
Over the side. My brother was on death row back in 1994 for a crime he didn't commit. It took me 16 years to get him off death row, and they turned around based on an innocent claim and gave him life without parole. So he's doing life without parole now for the past 13, 14 years. So I've been doing this all together for 30 years. I consider myself an expert on bullshit. I wanted somebody to be able to, now I knew how John felt, I knew how Bobby felt, because I felt that way. But then my brother got off death row, and I wanted them to feel that feeling too, how I feel, because I wasn't able to share that with anybody. But now my brother is safe, their mother is safe. So we share the pain and we share the happiness of their mom getting off death row. My brother's not going to be executed, neither is their mom. And that's what it's all about. And to have people in the backgrounds that's coming after you with vengeance, and you're saying that you're representing the people, maybe somebody needs to go down there and ask Mr. Sines for his resignation.
Cameron County.
Isn't that something? But you can't be saying you're representing the people. Now I'm gonna get to Mr. Sines, Mr. Villalobos, because I always wondered why he held this case up the way he did, especially knowing what had happened to the previous DA, Mr. Armando Villalobos. With all the crimes and things that he was accused of and found guilty, went to prison for 13 years. I said, well, hell, Melissa was only in there 15. This man's in there 13. Come on. And then Mr. Science is trying to hold that up. What was it that you were trying to hold on to? Because we had already destroyed the case. We had already disputed all the evidence. So what was his mockery of this law? And to make a statement that you can't wait to prosecute Melissa, what evidence would you have? I'm hoping it's not the same evidence that Mr. Villalobos had. I'm hoping that's not it, because you couldn't have found it where Mr. Villalobos is. See, so if you're going to bring it right. And if he didn't have none 15 years ago, you don't have any today. You're not going to ruin this for us. We're going to enjoy this day. People have stood together. They stood together with the Lucio family, and that's how we're going to stand. Now, what the question is, we're going to see who stands with you. We see they wouldn't stand with Armando Villalobos. I hope you're not trying to be a generic Villalobos. And I see that the state did not stand with him. I don't think the state's going to stand with you. I think you're bluffing. I don't even think the state's going to allow you to do it. I don't think the state's going to allow you to do it. The jig is up. You all know. We all know. What is it possible that this man can come out and find to bring charges against Melissa Lucio? We've disputed everything they've said. There has been no crime. And now again, you're trying to make up on it. Shame on you for being the DA of Cameron County. Shame on you. Thank you.
Any questions for Charles? And we're all available for one-on-ones. Next, I want to bring up Maggie Luna, who has been a stalwart in the campaign in Austin. She has been just a dynamo of energy. She's going to introduce herself the way she'd like to be introduced with her organization and all that. But this is just one. And also we have back here Mark and Denise and Carmen, and there's lots of other people that have been organizing and spending all kinds of time and effort on this. So Maggie.
Thank you, Abe. So I'm Maggie Luna from the Statewide Leadership Council in Austin, Texas. And I have really taken this case emotionally. I am a mother. I haven't seen my kid in 6 years. So just to know that he's about to see his mother is it's exciting for me, and it gives me hope, because I too I was like Melissa. I had an addiction, and I was failed by every system, just like she was. And CPS took my children and split them up, and now I'm gonna have to deal with them when they get older. And so it just gives me so much hope to see that these children were affected by this system, and now they're doing wonderful things to fight for their mother. You know, she was not the monster that y'all want her, they try to make her out to be. And you know, earlier somebody said, you know, on paper I look bad. If you do my background check, I'm gonna tell you right now I look bad. But I'm here today fighting for other people like me. Melissa needs to be here today fighting for other women like her. And I'm just so grateful that this is gonna happen. She's gonna come home. And DA Signs, we're not gonna forget this.
That's a subtle warning there. Ana Luisa is here with LULAC. Ana Luisa.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon to everybody. I am Ana Luisa Carrillo Tapia. I am the District Director for the League of United Latin American Citizens in Central Texas, which covers the surrounding 22 counties. And under my responsibility, I made sure that everybody that had a moment gave us some time to listen to Melissa's story. And the reason being, we met as strangers, but now we're family. So when there's an issue, when there's an injustice, and I've said it and I will forever say it, when there's an injustice to one, it's an injustice to all of us. When you withhold evidence, you're not doing the job that you were hired, that you were elected to do as a elected official. And in turn, you affect a family. And that family affects another person, and that person affects another person, and that person comes back to you. So we need to be responsible who we elect. We need to be responsible and stand and say, all life is precious. All life. Don't just look at us when it's time as Latinos to vote. Look at us, know that we're here, we're hardworking individuals, we're here to raise our families, and we need that opportunity. You give me one chance and I'll work twice as hard to make sure that you know that I'm here, that I haven't left, and we're here to make an impact. And when you treat somebody unjustly, you're treating the rest of us unjustly. Because when you see one of me, it's not just me. It connects to somebody else, and it's gonna continue connecting. Because why? Because this is our community. Without unity, you have nothing. You have nothing.
We the people.
En español. Buenas tardes a todos. Les damos las gracias por apoyarnos. Let me go back to English. Thank you, everybody, for reaching out to the governor, to the reaching out to the Innocence Project, sending your text messages, your emails, your phone calls, sharing it, tweeting it, Facebook, all book. Every time you shared it, it meant something because it gave that seed, it planted that seed. John, we talked about a mustard seed faith. That's the smallest seed that there is, but when you look at the tree and how huge it is, it makes an impact. And that's what we have done here today. We as LULAC, we respect life and we are against the death penalty. En español, gracias por apoyarnos, apoyar a la familia.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened there, but I'm sure Manny's going to be coming back very, very shortly. And I know there's some audio issues. There's some things that are going on. So bear with us for a few seconds. And
A todos. Y no tiene que ver con tu color de piel ni tu idioma. Tiene que ver con razones de que no hay economía, no hay cuidado médico, no hay tal vez manera de saber qué son las leyes, pero ¿sabes qué? De este punto en adelante vamos a comprometernos a mejorar y salir adelante. ¿Por qué? Porque nuestros hijos, nuestra comunidad se lo merece. Gracias. Dios me los bendiga.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning
I want to
in.
make sure that we mention Jeff Leach and Representative Moody and all of the other legislators, senators, and representatives, and everybody that helped put that together. I also want to make sure I failed to mention earlier, Margaret Schmucker, who is actually in the film. The lawyer.
Margaret Schmucker is the lady, the first attorney at the beginning of the movie.
10 years? Sabrina's on the phone. But how long? 11 years, Margaret Schmucker. So thank you to her too. Carmen Ayala is here with Somos Texas. And come on forward, yes. And we're almost done. After Carmen, we'll have Mike Delano, and then we'll be available for one-on-ones.
I'll keep it short. My name is Carmen Ayala, and I'm with Somos Texas, and we've been leading the fight for Melissa Lucio in Dallas, Texas, from phone banking to a protest rally with state legislators, and for a banner drop we did last weekend. And, you know, with Somos Texas, the LULAC, they mentioned voting, and, you know, we at Somos Texas, we do civic engagement, and we elect the people that are in power, and these people in power affect families. And that's why it's so important for us to register people to vote and get Latinos involved in these elections. Like, don't just come during election season, but throughout the year. And so I'm glad to see all these other organizations come rally behind Melissa Lucio, because it's important. It's an election year for Greg Abbott. And we're waiting to see what he's gonna do, because come November, our voices will be even louder at the polling booth. Yes. And, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to get bigger, and we're going to keep fighting until justice is served. And, you know, I'm ready for a home cooked meal from your mom, John. So we're going to keep fighting. And like everyone behind me, we believe she's coming home, and we're going to fight until she's home. And then we're going to make our voices heard when we go vote this November. Thank you.
Well, before Magdalena, I want to invite Denise Palacios, who's an organizer from Cameron County, who just heard about this case a few weeks ago and has jumped in with both feet.
Voy a ser súper breve. Mi nombre es Denise Palacios, soy una organizadora comunitaria. My name is Denise Palacios. I'm a community organizer from Brownsville, Texas. And we're all here today to celebrate that Melissa's coming home, but we can't stop fighting. And this is the one thing that I want to say. Just because she's not going to be executed doesn't mean we stop fighting. We need to continue fighting. We need to pressure District Attorney Sines to release her because she is an innocent woman. Así que lo que les dejo el día de hoy es que no dejen de pelear por Melissa porque todavía no ha llegado a casa, ¿verdad? Todavía no está aquí con nosotros. Así que tenemos que seguir peleando hasta que ella esté en casa. Así que por favor, llamen a la oficina del fiscal del condado, Luis V. Sines, porque ese hombre tiene el poder para que ella regrese a caja. That's it.
Yay. Let's go.
Drop the mic.
My name is Leno Rose Avila. I'm on the advisory committee of death penalty action. And I've also been a human rights activist and worked with Dave for over 30 years to abolish the death penalty. And I've been involved in this case like many other cases here in Texas. And one of the things that I started meeting John and other people at Zoom, Sandra and others, and is that this was a fight that we would have is if it was our mother. What would you do if it was your mother that was accused falsely of child abuse, was accused falsely of killing their own child? You know, there's a lot of crimes that have been committed in this process by the interrogation, by the false evidence, by the lying of police, by the lying of the prosecutors, all of it. But the most important crime that's been overlooked is that Melissa had to give birth to the twins while she was in jail. The other crime that they did is they did not allow her to grieve the death of Mariah. That is the most difficult thing for a mother who knows she's innocent, and they're accusing you of killing your own child. When she talks and writes, she talks about having to read scripture to John, which is helping him. But she also talks about one day she's going to be in heaven with Mariah and hold her, tell her how much she loves her, just like she loves all the kids. So this has been a love fest. All of the people that you see here, her family, all of the people that have been involved with the case and have talked or written to Melissa know that what she doesn't talk about hate. She talks about her faith and she talks about love. And yes, we cannot wait till she comes home and cooks for all of us. I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia, and I came down here and spent the last weekend in El Valle. And during my last letters, we've been having a debate, Melissa and I, about who cooks the best Mexican food. She swears that she makes the best fideo. For those of you that aren't Mexican, that's a good pasta dish. So, and the letter that I just received today from her, that they sent me a copy from Georgia, she talks about not being afraid. She said, you know, normally when they put a person on this close to an execution, they put a person to watch them so they won't commit suicide. She said, I'm a strong person. I'm not going to commit suicide. I'm not going to make it easy. The other thing she did is she sent me a recipe for fideo. So I'm all excited now. But you have to know that there was no evidence that she was a mean mother, that she was abusive, that she was a bad person. Her kids would have said it. They never let the children testify. She's a mother who loved her kids, just like my mother was a poor mother of 12 kids, and we weren't perfect in our family in Colorado. But remember, she's a mother who loves her kids, loves her Lord, and loves everyone, even the people who were mean to her and lied about her and demonized her. She lives for love, and that's what we're here. We're a love circle of people, and that's the way it was across the nation. So I want you to, when you think of Melissa, think of a good mom, a loving mom, a woman of faith, and a woman who's going to come out, and we're going to celebrate with her on those days with good Mexican food, music, and if you want to bring your German or kosher food, you're also welcome.
John and Michelle and Bobby, could you come back up here, please? And I just want to say how thankful I am for the opportunity to be doing this with you. I've never been this involved with a family that's been facing execution before, and it's been a lesson in seeing what the system does to families, and the love that you all have just stepped up with, you and others in your family, has been just awe-inspiring and at the same time devastating to understand what it is to be 2 days away from the execution of your mother. So we're grateful for you. And the other thing I want to say is to every Texan and to every person in this country, are you willing to be the innocent person executed? And how would you feel if it was your mother still in prison when you know that she's innocent? That's the question we all have to ask. Thank you all for coming. We're able to do one-on-ones, and then these people need to eat.
I just want to
Yeah. John's gonna have a final thought.
I just want to say I left out early. I'm sorry. Like I said earlier, my mind's just been going super fast. I know I left out quite a few people to thank. But I want to first start off with the capital, man, because we all know what the Republicans are for. The Republicans are for the death penalty, and these Republicans, Jeff Leach, we got Joe Moody, we got Brad Bugsy that was on the committee at the meeting there in Austin, Texas, a couple weeks back. Many representatives there at the Capitol. I mean, senators. I just want to thank all of them. I mean, I don't have all their names memorized. If I try to remember, we're gonna be here all night. But I just want to thank them all. Thank them all, man. We love you guys. Jeff Leach, man, my mother loves all of you guys. She loves you all so much. She knows who y'all are. I mean, the word. I mean, I know it's hard to. I mean, the thank you to me is just not enough, I mean, but I say with this with my heart to you, all of y'all representatives, and thanks for all your support, for y'all making it happen. Once again, like I mean, Lisa mentioned a little minute ago. I mean, everybody, all the people that signed petitions, because there's hundreds of thousands of them. People that send emails to the Governor Greg Abbott, to District Louis Signs, to Board and Pardon Thoreau's. I mean, all across the nation, all across the globe, the countries. Thank you for everything that y'all guys have done. Thanks for all the emails and everything. And then, of course, I want to thank all y'all media as well, because without the media, I mean, we would have not been able to spread the word, spread the publicity, raise the awareness, But I already told you today, thank you, Abe, so I'm not going to tell you again. I love you guys. Thank you. God bless, man.
Thank you. We're available for one-on-ones for a few minutes, and then we need a recommendation for a good restaurant.
I have one more thing I want to say to y'all. Back when they convicted her and they wrote history and put the first Latina on death row, today her story was written. First Latina coming out of death row.
That's right. That's right. I would do it like yeah, we're gonna be here. We're gonna figure out how to get this.
All right. Well, there you have it. And I'm trying to get Sabrina's going to give me some time. I don't want to bother them right now. They're in the celebration mode, and they need to go get dinner. So I'm not even going to bother them now. So sometime later tonight or tomorrow, I will have Sabrina on, and I'll try to get John on as well, and we can have some more a more intimate conversation with John.
Yeah.
And see what was on their minds then, what's on their minds now, and so that'll be coming up. I'll let you guys know as soon as I'm able to put that together.
And I seen a comment that I'm going to address real quick, because as much as we really, I think politics really, because I think Manny, maybe you can agree with me, maybe disagree with me, but I mean, we're center right for the most part.
Yeah.
But and like has been said in other things, other shows, I am for the death penalty. However, it better be so airtight that not a mouse could squeak through.
Yeah.
The thing about this whole case, which is what drew me in to this case and actually coming out and saying that, yeah, there's so many holes in this case that it leaves her guilt in doubt. And I look at it specifically from the forensic side. I got to take a look at the autopsy report, and the autopsy report was written like a third grader wrote it.
Yep. Saw that.
And normally I don't criticize a medical examiner for how they write their autopsy report. It's just something that's not done in this field. But when you're writing an autopsy report that is going to be used in a capital murder case, you better make sure that every little minor detail is in there. And then if there's going to be other things that need to be added in, like say expert testimony that can verify or anything to the actual crime, then you add those in before that report goes to the DA's office.
Yep.
This was lacking all of that.
Yep. That's correct.
So once I seen all that stuff, I was just like, no, sorry, this is not a kosher case. This is not something that for me it is something that I would never support a capital case.
And not to mention that the person who did the autopsy, she was new. So when she said it was the worst case of physical abuse that she's ever seen, she never saw that many at all. She only saw very minimal. So she did not have a lot of experience, and that's why.
Cases.
Yeah, there you go. See, and
So
that's why she's in a lawsuit right now. She's being sued in a couple of different trials, in a couple of different cases for.
That was an amazing portion of it. So another thing, anytime there is a capital case, we as expert witnesses have to actually attest to how many things that or how many trials, and we actually have to show a portfolio of cases that we actually were involved in from the medical examiner side to the forensic examiner side and all the way through. And only then are we able to be called to the stand. If it's a capital case, if they have less than 30 cases under their belt, we cannot actually use them as an expert witness or as an ME on those cases. So it's when people talk about it, it just doesn't make sense. She had 2 cases under her belt. She should not have been even doing that autopsy. Period. It should have went to somebody in Austin or somebody else that's more experienced in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah, and I don't know, and besides that point, Peter Gilman, her attorney, not introducing all of this basic evidence.
Well, and the thing is he had full access to it. It was all part of the record.
Yeah, I mean, it's so basic that these jurors would have heard that. They would have said, "Oh, maybe she's not guilty," and they would not have voted guilty. And why he left it out? Speculation. You can speculate all you want, but guess what? As soon as the case was over, he's working at the DA's office, making top money with his wife in the office there. Both of them went. Gilman and his wife are there making top money, more than others that have been there already in the DA's office. What's up with that? So,
Well, yeah, and
who was he really working for? Who was he really trying to defend Melissa, or was he really trying to put her away to make the DA look good so he can look good stepping into his new job? That's
know,
shady as F. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, and I mean, quite honestly, when we, I'm going to address this another notch on his belt, guys. Public defenders don't get paid a whole lot of money, and he was a public defender, and there's a reason that we've for myself, I'm a, I don't like taking cases, especially prosecutor cases that have a public defender working against a prosecutor because it's unfair.
Yep.
As an expert witness, you can get paid anywhere from $35,000 to $75,000 per trial that the prosecutor and the taxpayers actually pay for.
Yep.
To put people
Yeah.
that don't have that kind of money away.
I don't know what he got paid for because he didn't do jack. I mean, literally, Lynn Marie Garcia said she went to go pick up his files. I don't know if you caught that or not. She went to his office to pick up his files. And I don't know if you saw early in the documentary when Margaret Schmucker was there sorting out all the files of the case. And there were boxes and boxes and boxes. As far as the eye can see, there were boxes everywhere. Lynn Marie Garcia went to pick up his files, and it was one box, a single box. It was not even full. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
You know, he didn't retain much. He didn't keep much. He didn't draw up much. He didn't write up much. He didn't do anything. There was nothing there. What the heck was he doing?
You know how much he got paid for the case?
I don't know.
$35,000.
Yeah, whatever it was too much.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about it is public defenders, especially trials that have any length of incarceration prior to trial, there's always a nice hefty amount that's given to them.
So what's going to happen? What's probably going to happen is they may offer her a deal to go home, and I'm saying this based on another case that happened recently, and I'm going to talk about that one later as well. But they offered her to take a deal of no contest. They said, "We'll let you go home today, if you plead no contest." And she was going to say, "All right, well, I'll do that." But guess what? No contest means you cannot sue the courts for any kind of compensation for being wrongly convicted and wrongly jailed.
Yeah, and I think honestly, at this point, Melissa is guys. I'm not a mind reader. I don't profess to be a mind reader, but if it was me in that position, I would be itching to get out, especially after 17 years of being inside and on death row. I
Yeah,
would
and
be itching to get out, so I would probably be like, okay, sign here.
where do I sign? I know, right? But the problem is, you go back to the same thing. What she was talking about, where she didn't take the first deal. You know, she was like, "Why should I take the first deal? Why should I take your deal if I'm not guilty?" You know, so and I get that, and I hope she doesn't take a deal. I hope she can find it within her to let it all play out, and she will be justifiably free.
So, Tanya Wilbur. So, if Melissa's freed, will this case be considered accidental? She can't be freed until either A, the case is thrown, or she is retried and found not guilty. Those are the only two options, really. I mean, Governor Abbott can come in and say, you know what, he could get a wild hair up his rump and say, you know what, I'm going to give a full pardon. And
15 years she's been from 2007 to 2022.
Okay, so
Yeah,
sorry.
there's a lot of things to consider here. What they might try to do. I'm hoping Louis Science just looks at everything and says, you know what? Have a nice day. We're not going to try this. You're free to go.
I take
You know,
it
that would
somebody.
be the right thing to do.
Yeah, but what's right and what's politically expedient for him is two different things.
Well, politically, yeah. I mean, you know, still it's going to look bad if you're going to try her again and try to get capital murder again. It's going to be like, damn, this dude wants her killed. You know? And that's not going to look good on him. So I know there's a lot of people here that know him personally. You know, he's been around the community for his whole life, and people know him. They went to school with him. They worked with him, and they say, you know, he's real hard headed. He's gonna want what he wants. He's got a lot of pride. But
So
I asked earlier, how much time does the DA have to refile? There is no time. There's no limit. He could wait 5 years and then decide, she can go.
yeah, and that's the thing. She has already been convicted. So the double jeopardy and all that does not apply anymore.
Yep. Nope.
Until she is acquitted, if it gets retried and she is acquitted, then there is a double jeopardy standard that
Right.
is put into effect in which she cannot be retried for those crimes.
Yep. So that's where it stands right now. We'll see what the DA does. There is no time limit. You know, this could drag on. This could drag on. This can drag on for another 20 years. It really could. And yes,
Unfortunately,
it will keep her in prison all that time until he decides what to do. So it would behoove him to do something. If he wants to make himself look good, act fast. Surely before November.
yeah.
That would be in his best interest if he wants to come out the hero. Even though we know he really isn't. But if he wants to come out that way, then he should act as soon as possible and just do what's right. So,
Can anybody besides the DA do anything about this case? Yes. So Governor Abbott, if he wanted to, could completely commute her sentence or give her what's considered a full pardon. A full pardon would have her released same day, 4 hours later. The amount of time it takes to do her exit paperwork is all that it would take to get her out. The Texas Board of Pardons, they rescinded their vote on this case because the Texas Criminal Court of Appeals actually did an up-down vote and basically granted the stay of execution.
and Abbott can really, he doesn't have to do anything, you know. And now it's in the DA's court, so Abbott can just sit back and it's on them.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And he can
But,
remain, you know.
And yes, I don't know how to pronounce. Is it Sayans?
Science, yeah.
Sayans. He could withdraw the death warrant as well completely, which would pull her off of death row. That's a thing that a lot of. So 48 hours prior to execution, she is actually you get moved. I actually looked at the Texas procedures. You're moved from the regular death row to 2 cells away from the execution chamber. You're moved that evening.
Yeah.
And so they would have done it tonight at 6 p.m.
Well, the word was that they were going to move her possibly as late as the same day, earlier in the day. So whether somebody knew something or something, why she didn't get moved, and then this happens, they were probably waiting to hear from the Board of Pardons and Paroles. So
Pure corruption needs to step in. A woman is falsely accused and charged and has paid a heavy price already. Yes, I agree with that. I know Manny probably agrees. I don't know exactly what you agree with, but
yeah, I mean, if nobody would have done anything, if this didn't happen today, that would have been a huge problem.
it would have been a huge injustice.
Much outrage, that's for sure.
So, what if evidence has disintegrated or normal or evidence that could be used in a retrial? What findings would they have to prove her guilt? So, we have had these cases happen not only in the state courts but in federal court where they have used the evidence from before, and the evidence is the documents that preserve it, and then expert testimony based off pictures and stuff like that. That is severely circumstantial evidence, and very rarely is it used to get a conviction.
Yeah, because she's a female, she would have been transferred the day of execution, not days prior. That's a procedure they do for females.
Okay.
Because the chamber, we'll call it, is in the men's area of the prison.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly men that get executed.
So she still could get another execution date. Yes, she could. They could refile the execution or the death warrant as soon as that's refiled.
Yeah. If I was Louis Science, I would rather come off as a hero, do what's right, do it now, and people will remember, instead of trying to execute her again and then probably losing. Unless there's more shenanigans going on, behind the scenes.
Well, and I think that is going to be something that is really hard to do now. I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and let's say they go to trial, and they find, guys, this isn't what I believe, but they find something else that proves her guilt.
Yeah, and they can look all they want. There isn't anything.
Yeah.
There is never been a smoking gun.
They could introduce that evidence. And then as a jury of 12, that would go to deliberate, and they could say, yeah, she's guilty, but she's not guilty of capital murder.
Yeah, and even if if he really wants to put her away, he would have to go for capital murder. Because if he tries to get her on neglect or what is it, negligent homicide, or what's the other one, manslaughter, even, guess what? Time served.
Yeah.
Time served.
So
and if you're gonna go that route, well, then why bother with the whole thing anyway? Just let her out. Just you know what? Save face, do the right thing, and just let this one go. This one's not for you, Louis. It's not. You got bigger fish to fry.
But he is. I honestly believe he is going to. I do believe he's going to try to push for. So the very next step from here goes to an evidentiary hearing where they will introduce the exculpatory evidence that was not brought up in trial. That will be considered by a panel of 3 judges. If they find enough evidence is new that's exculpatory, they can overturn conviction, send that back to trial court for a retry, and then it's on the DA to say, yes, we're going to retry it, or no, we're not. So there's a couple more steps in the process before she's freed. If she is freed, she will have met all of those steps. And
Yep.
anybody who wants to know how I know anything about this, I have been an expert witness in the federal court and in state court for crimes against children and women. I was an expert witness for 6 crimes. So
You've been there.
I know the court system inside and out. I've been there, I've done that. And usually it's my job to put people that commit these heinous crimes behind bars. It's my testimony that puts these people away.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm afraid of right here. And this, I know it's been there. He said it earlier. You know, he has said he was looking forward to retrying her.
Well,
so, but you know what? That's something he's got to say in public to be a tough guy.
And he was, I know he was there. There's speculation, and I was able to listen into the actual criminal court appeals because there was oral arguments that were done before this decision and an up and down vote. And he was asked point. It sounded like him, but it sounded like this individual was asked whether he supported the stay or not. And the individual that answered said, yes, I support the stay. Whether it was him or not, I can't say. It's illegal to live stream those kind of proceedings. So I can't. But if I could have, I would have in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to step away here, but these are the words that have to come out of Louis Cyan's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we need to hear right here. You ready? After reviewing all of the evidence, we believe in the best interest of justice that all charges of capital murder be withdrawn. Mic drop. He will be hailed a hero. Yes, you did the right thing, Louis. You did the right thing.
Was it a woman? No, it was a male voice. And it was the person was identified to be from the district attorney's office. So that's all I know. I am not in Texas, guys. I am way up north. I'm a Yankee. So I apologize. I kind of inserted myself into this case after hearing all the details. And Manny, I appreciate you spending as much time as you have doing this. I know some people think I'm a guest, but we're friends.
Yeah, he's a guest host, definitely. Everyone, this is Shane. Shane, what's your last name?
Sipe.
Sipe, that's right. Shane Sipe. And he is with the
Patriot News Network.
The Patriot News Network. And we're testing out this little partnership. So far, it's going pretty good. And these are the important kind of issues that we like to talk about and like to discuss and like to bring out. And yeah, Shane, I appreciate your knowledge and your experience. Definitely, it's good input. People like to hear it. People love to hear this kind of talk. We wish it was under better circumstances, but you know what? Today was good news. And there's a long road ahead. This is not over by a long shot. Just
give or take. It's if I were a betting man, and I'm not, I would say a minimum of 5 years.
Yeah, see, and that's reasonable. That's reasonable to believe that can happen. It'd be nice if by November, Louis Lyons would look at everything and say, you know what, this is not worth it. This is not worth it.
And for me, that's kind of where I'm at. Is you look at all the evidence, you look at what's going on, political environment that we're moving into a midterm election. There's politics plays a heavy hand in everything that's going on here. And what's advantageous to him could sway the needle either way. But he tried to push it before April was over. And
he was trying to have her executed during the month of April, which is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And he wanted to make her the poster child for that execution. He
And,
did. He made no secret of that.
and
So
guys, enough, just a little bit. The reason I jumped into this case, not be, not just because of the injustice, but when I was 6 months old, I was actually taken away from my biological mother because I was brought into the hospital with bilateral radial skull fractures. I was an
mm.
abuse victim myself. So
Oh shit. Well,
when this is a personal case for me, this is something, child abuse cases, stuff like that. Yes, I kind of I have to center myself and say, you know what, I can't get too emotional in regards to this. But when you see somebody going through what Melissa's going through what the family's going through, and seeing that it looks like a tragic accident, everything's pointing to a tragic accident. There's really nothing that substantiates that she killed her. So I can't even say I'm angry at anybody that's involved in this case except for the DA because there was no justice served. So
yep. We will see. We'll see what happens in the coming days, the coming weeks. Hopefully, hopefully only a few months before the DA decides something. I can't even imagine going through this for another 5 years. Uh,
but
People can say what they want about Louis Science, and I hope they're wrong. But it would suck. It would suck for him to do to leave her there and let this just drag on.
but
That's that's all I'm saying.
I think he's going to do what he feels is politically advantageous to himself. And it looks like I'm.
Yep. I got to go make dinner, y'all.
Yep. And my
So
son's telling me it's time for dinner.
good
So
time to pull the plug. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us.
we'll see
Good
you
news
soon.
for Melissa Lucio today.
Yep.
And as soon as I get confirmation of having Sabrina and possibly John and anybody else who will join us, whether it's later today or tomorrow, I will let you guys know, and we'll bring that to you again.
And Troy as well, possibly later on
Yes,
in the week too.
Troy will be joining us at some point as well. All right, Shane, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone. And don't forget to give my page a like at Manny Behind the Mic on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Once you give a like to the Patriot News Network, and a lot of good stuff on there, which is mostly stuff I'll be posting, all the news that you get all the time. Great discussions on there, by the way. Otherwise, we'll talk to you later.
Yep. And guys, as always, it's your time. You guys are your voice. You have to use your voice. It's time that we cannot be silent. So get out there and share these. That's how they get spread.
Yeah, for sure. Share these videos, share your discussions, family and friends, whoever, and don't be afraid to engage. And if there's something you don't get or you're not sure on, just tag somebody who does. Tag one of us, and we'll jump in as well.
Yeah,
All right.
and guys, inbox us too. If
Yes,
there's something you don't
absolutely.
want to talk about in the comments or whatever, shoot us a message in the inbox, and we'll get back to you, Manny and myself. If it's on YouTube, it's going to be Manny because I'm not on YouTube. I got kicked off. But
Yeah, for sure.
we'll talk soon.
They know how to reach us. All right, guys, have a great night. We'll talk to you